parts of the country. We've seen people come out in Garoua, Kuseri, Chang, Limbe, Douala, and of course trying to cry foul as to the fact that some people are struggling to manipulate a result sheet, and that has resulted to a lot of tensions and violence in some parts of the country, notably Douala and Chang. And today we are looking at the question, how do we curb the reigning violence while we Cameroonians, we still await the official results of the October 12th presidential election to be proclaimed by the Constitutional Council, the only organ competent to officially declare the results. That will be our focus on today's edition of 360 Degrees, the very first after the heated campaign period in Cameroon. Stay with us. Welcome back. Today we are talking the electoral atmosphere beginning from Sunday, how the elections unfolded across the national territory, and of course with a cap on how to mitigate the violence that is already growing across the country because of election results. And to handle that very important topic, I have gentlemen in the studio that we shall be going straight to welcome in this program. I will begin from my far right. For the moment, we have Dr. Ndagrimbal, who is the Deputy Secretary General, Deputy National Secretary General of the Social Democratic Front, the SDF. Doc, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chia Hyncenth. It's always a pleasure to be here to discuss on Cameroon politics, especially now that I think it's 1 week now that the presidential election has taken place, and we are eagerly waiting for the results. Yeah. Result which I think if the opposition was in parliament would have already been released by now. Because certainly when we are going to take over, we'll certainly review this very, very bad law. With the advent of technology, it will take us not more than 48 hours to release results in all transparency. And so I wish to extend my greetings to all the numerous fellow viewers of Canal, and also to my co-panelists this afternoon.
And talking about taking over, it means you're already projecting 2032, because from the trends, we are already aware that the SDF has no...
Well, yes, from the trend, well, I can't sit here and say over air that from the trends, the SDF is going to win. It has been a very tough battle for us. We tried all we could. Yeah. And what is happening is what is happening, and we are taking note of that.
Okay, thank you so much. I move to my left, where I have Barrister Dieudonné Tedjisse. The name is always very troublesome to me. Yeah, he is the president of the Cameroon Party for Peace, Democracy, and Construction, and he is one of those that have been campaigning for candidate Issa Chiroma Bakari in the just ended presidential election. You're welcome, Barrister.
Thank you, Hyncenth. Thank you for my inviting. And I want to thank Cameroonians who are peacefully waiting for the issue of this event. And I want to indicate that we are very calm. We are very calm. And from the closing of the polling station, results were public. And we have only one heritage, which is Cameroon. I used to say that we were born Cameroonian, we will live Cameroonian, and we will die Cameroonian. And I want to pay tribute to some of our military men who have been working very hard to protect all of us. My house was burned last Wednesday by some CPTM members in Nangai Boko.
When you say some
yes,
CPTM members,
saying,
you saw them, Barrister?
You know, I was threatened from the polling station.
Okay.
I was threatened from the polling station because some of our electoral agents were expelled from the polling station for the reason that they know. You know, if they claim to be Democratic Party, it is important to accept that we must have different point of view. And it is only by respecting others' point of view that we can be able to build a prosperous and peaceful nation.
Okay.
Our leader, Chuma Bakari, is calm. He was in a prayer yesterday. And I invite authorities not to have double standards, because there are fake journalists, which I don't want to pronounce names here, who have been spending their time giving fake informations on social network.
Okay.
That's not fair.
Okay.
You know, a world can be destroyed by wrongdoing of some individuals.
Okay, thank you so much. I move back to my right, where I have Mr. Hyncenth Paul. Mr. Hyncenth Paul is a political analyst. You've been here before, and we are happy you are able to sacrifice some time to be here during this very crucial moment. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hyncenth. Thank you to Canal. Thank you to your management as well. I think this is a very important opportunity for Canal as well, and also for the English-speaking regions who duly watch this particular show as well. Yep. I like to call you Bobe. Definitely,
of course, there's no problem about that.
Definitely, from my own circumscription, which is in Ginicom, I think the election went well. They exercised their civic rights. I think we are still waiting for the results. No one will want to anticipate, because we have a procedure here. We have an electoral procedure which is ongoing. Okay. We have the electoral code as well. And only the Constitutional Council can actually pronounce who will be the winner by Article 137 of Cameroon's electoral code. Sure. It is true that we have Article 133 that can give you the statistics as to what happened in a polling station as well. But also the electoral law doesn't give the ability to any political party to be able to declare themselves or project themselves as the winner. Now, there's a difference between declaring and projecting. I think every political party that takes part in a competition on the day of the election as well definitely has the ability to be able to project themselves as the possible winner, because they have their militants, they have their sympathizers, so they have to be able to tout the capacities and the capabilities of their political party. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I think there's a difference between taking Article 133 and then comparing it to Article 137. There are two different articles as well. Also, I think the topic today is very important. I think we will be able to look at the topics also on the contradictories as well, because sometimes in political parties the message is subjective, but we have to make sure that we take into consideration the civic and civic rights of militants and sympathizers of all the actors participating in the electoral process. I'm glad you mentioned Ginicom, and we have one of the alarm bells that were coming from Ginicom, where there is this allegation that people voted more than the expected people, as per the result that came out from there. Did you equally notice? Yeah, I heard the allegation as well, but still yet it's not really founded. But what we saw, what we know of is people exercise their civil rights as well. I think that's the most fundamental. Now, if there was an enthusiasm that was more than expected, that's still part of democracy as well. Now, it's left for Elections Cameroon to be able to, every polling station, it is allowed also. We have seen different tendencies. I also think that sometimes in polling stations, people can take a picture of a hall in a polling station, not necessarily taking the trend of actually that polling station as well. So we have to be very careful as to what we are saying, but also as well not to be impartial. To be honest with you, a militant or a sympathizer of a political party can decide to leave the political party as well. It is their civic and civil right. Okay. So they can choose to continue or they can choose not to. The reasons can be varied here. So in that capacity as well, let's be a little bit more moderate in our comprehension, but let's equally allow the electoral process and the procedures. Whether there needs to be amelioration or not, we have to, first of all, in this electoral procedure, allow the process to move forward.
Okay, thank you so much. We are privileged today to have Professor Zengwa Willibrod on set, he has many caps, but we'll limit ourselves today to one of the caps as a senior peace and conflict analyst. Prof, you're welcome.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. The first time I want to extend a hand to co-panelists and to our viewers that I'm glad to share with you and the general viewers of your program.
Thank you so much. After the jingle, we come back and get into the discussions proper. Dr. Ndagrimbal, I want us to paint a picture. That Sunday, the polls. What picture do you paint? You were on the field, not just like a voter, you were like an observer.
Exactly. Thank you very much for that question. I wish to say, among other things, that for my own personal observation, it's not party observation, nor observation from ELECAM or the Constitutional Council. I can tell you that this is one of the worst, if not the worst, organized presidential elections, particularly in the Northwest and Southwest regions. I am telling you that on that day from the SDF campaign headquarters, we had no rest because our phones were ringing continuously. And I want to beg Mr. Hyncenth Paul that have been watching for a very long time over TV that he should not be the analyst for the CPDM party. He should be the political neutral analyst that he is.
Can I also tell you
because in Ginicom, it is a total fiasco. It's a mafia. How can 2,241 people vote in Ginicom? Do you believe that, Mr. Hyncenth Paul? Under lockdown conditions, do you really believe that? In Santa, the same thing. Our representative in one of the polling stations, thank God, the representative of the SDF was there live. It was a live scenario.
And what was he telling you? What did he tell you as irregularities?
And what is the report? CPDM militants went and broke into the room where ELECAM kept ballot papers. ELECAM came late at that police station at 10 a.m. or past 10 when voting starts at 8 a.m. People started agitating. They moved in, broke into the room, removed ballot papers, put on the table, and then they started stuffing the ballot box. She took pictures. The military that was there, shockingly, the military that was there instead took her phone, wiped off all the images, and threatened her that she should stay quiet, and if she's not happy, she should walk out of this place. That is the scenario in Northwest and Southwest. You go to a place where the entire population of that neighborhood is not even up to 6,000. Yet, Bia won with more than 6,000 votes. That is, the entire population is not up to 6,000, not to talk of those who are registered, not to talk of those who went to register. Yet, the incumbent has more than 6,000 votes. In Bafut, it is the same scenario. In Bengui and in many other places, we stopped them from doing it because we were determined. We stopped them from doing it. I am telling you, this is high-level mafia.
Okay, thank you so much. I will be getting to you. Barrister, you were equally on ground, like a key actor. Yeah, I want us to look at that Sunday. What was the effervescence? Where you were? Where were you, by the way,
I was in Angaibuku. I want to congratulate the president of my polling unit because she was a very charismatic lady. Okay. And I can assure you that CPGA members were not even represented there. Okay. And, you know, in our country today, they have a lot of problems to be solved because since we are talking about solution to calm the violence and conflicts, right. You have the attendance sheet. Only one attendance sheet is available in the polling station. And this attendance sheet is not given back to other electoral agents in the polling station when they have closed it. It's a very serious problem. Okay. To continue on the same track, I want to tell you that the way of recruiting presence of polling station is a serious problem. Okay. Because some members of ELECAM, because if all this is happening because of ELECAM, ELECAM will bear the responsibility of what is going on. You will discover that some CPGA members are being recruited as president of polling station. Proven? Or you are guessing? I am on the field. Okay. I'm on the field. You can check. You can check it. You are a serious journalist. You can check members of CPGM party. And I want to seize the opportunity given to me to tell them that all of us are children of this nation. all of us are patriotic. But it is important to always make sure that between legality and legitimacy, there must be equality. Because if you have legality without being legitimate by those who are voting, it's a problem. Okay. And be sure that you cannot maintain yourself on power by using tear gas and bullet. It's not so. You will not be leading dead people. Today, all political parties are invited to train their activists. Because if there's an activist which is not politically trained, it's a criminal. And it is what I told you that my house was burned last Wednesday. Yeah. I was threatened from the police station. And I thank the gendarmerie service of Nangai Boko who have been able to react properly. So we have a lot of things to do in this country. And I assure them, as I said earlier, we were born Cameroonian, we will live Cameroonian, we will die Cameroonian. We will not go asylum. Okay. We will live here. Our parents passed their time laying down. We walk straight, with head straight, and we refuse to see our children kneeling down.
Okay, thank you so much. Prof, when you look at the turnout this 2025 and then you want to do a kind of throwback in 2018, would you say Cameroonians were more motivated this time around to come out and make their decisions through the ballot box?
Before I answer your question, I would like to ask you my own question. What is the essence of this program?
Bringing peace.
We are moving towards bringing peace on the electoral process.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
I think that is why I'm here.
Yes.
I'm here to talk on how we can be able to establish and roll back the conflict situation in the country and make sure that, like he said, that we are all Cameroonians and we should be able to remain Cameroonians despite the flaws. Let me be clear. The elections of this year were largely mad, flawed, with exaggerated misgivings as far as what election should be. Yeah. But I want to be very clear that there are regions where we do not have elections. Okay. And when we have results coming from these regions and we want to lay claims of holding legitimacy to that, it makes it very deplorable. I'm talking precisely about the Northwest and Southwest regions. Sure. We cannot say people in those regions came out to exercise their civic rights. No, far from it. A handful of people with priority came out to vote. And evidently, the ballot papers were stocked for obvious reasons. Well, to give victory. But that is not where I'm coming from. Yeah. Doing an analysis of the previous and the present election, there is an increasing tendency of enthusiasm. From the women folk, the women came out in their masses. Yeah. From the young people, they came out in their masses. But what I want to say is that no matter what, we should be able to look beyond the presidential elections. I must say that before the presidential elections, I came out with a write-up. There should be peace before. Yeah, I think there should be peace during and after. And communication is very important. I remember we organized a conference on communication that we did attend. That the way we communicate can either roll back the conflict situation or put more kerosene on fire. Yeah. And therefore, now it's not who is right and who is wrong. We must be able to inject social justice and state it clearly who is doing what in a wrong domain. But the responsibilities of building peace should be able to spread out to all the political actors. I mean, all the political parties, the citizens of Cameroon, the military, the police system, the ELECAM, the Constitutional Council. All of these bodies have a responsibility in their own spheres to make sure that peace reigns in Cameroon, especially after the elections. Most especially after the declaration of the results.
Okay. If you are watching us, you have the opportunity to contribute to our talking points through the number you have on your screen. Just send a short message on WhatsApp or SMS. Straight to the point. Do not be long. If not, we'll not be able to take your message in the course of this program. You were itching to react when...
okay.
Yes.
No, I mean, I think overall...
let me just give you 1 minute to clear your mind before we move forward.
No, my mind is clear. Okay. So don't even worry about that. You should not worry about what my mind is, because that's why I'm a political analyst. I mean, my mind... I love my brother Gerald. He's very enthusiastic, and he's from the SDF, so he thinks the SDF should have won everywhere in the national territory. Unfortunately, that might not be the reality. So, of course, of the SDF, he would think that the SDF should win in every polling station. If I was of the SDF, I would have that same mindset as well. But you have to also be fair that what many people are crying for is for an amelioration of the electoral code. Remind you, I said here on the set, if you go into a competition, you have to go by the rules as well.
Of course.
Now, it is true that before the electoral process was ongoing, there had been maybe, say, discussions with Elections Cameroon and the different participants. I would not like to call them participants, they are stakeholders in the electoral process.
Of course.
And the various stakeholders in the electoral process know the electoral code. Now, if you know the electoral code, you could either decide to participate or not participate. It is your civic right and your civil right to do that or not to choose to do that as well. Now, it engages your militants and sympathizers as well. Now, from a political science standpoint, you have to be very careful, because in politics, people have interests. So I can understand Professor, when Prof is saying we should have an equality and we should have a conscience. But equally, the contradictory of politics is you're going into a competition for your political vision and ideology. Now, your political vision sometimes can be radical, it can be medial, or it can be just be coercive. And that's how you actually advocate and you get the militants and sympathizers to your political party, which means his view in wanting the agenda of maybe the FSNC political party sometimes might not agree with the SDF political party, which is what I sometimes say, that sometimes the political candidate is more popular than the political agenda of the political party. Yes, now, you cannot expect an apolitical or a political citizen within a circumscription to be able to understand that. Now, what most from civil society and analysts are actually saying is that most of the political parties should have done their groundwork, including the incumbent, to sensitize and educate their militants and sympathizers as to, first of all, reappropriating yourself about the electoral code and the process, the outcomes and the possibilities, and the behavior in terms of conduct. Now, when we come back to maybe to Njinikon, I'll rightly say, yes, there has been a participation. Equally, he says there was a participation. Do you want to really think that there were 137 registered voters in the whole of Njinikon? I beg to differ. There are registered voters in Njinikon. There are registered voters in Boyo. Now, we have to wait for the report of the proceedings. That is what is called tolerance and patience. It might not necessarily be favorable to you. That is what we are alluding to. And it comes back to what Prof was saying, that we have to be able to, from a civic society standpoint, make sure that we have a little bit of patience and tolerance. Because no one, the winner is one person. The Constitutional Council is the only one that announces the winner. But of course, once we have each political party participating also at the level of the polling stations, you have a witness therefore. That is equally why when people are talking of the consensus and the coalition and the failure of it, the reason and the indicator why was because if there's a consensus and a coalition, they would have been able to together.
That is what I was
observers at all the polling stations in a consensual manner. I was
about to ask you that as a political analyst, what do you make of candidates who have come out to say, oh, I've won, I've been defeated? Because we equally have candidates that have come out to say it didn't work well for us, like the SDF. Yes, and we have candidates who have come out to beat their chest and say, okay, the people have decided. So, as a political analyst, what do you
particularly, I think the SDF did very well. I don't think the SDF should be beating themselves on the back. As a political analyst, I pat them on the back. They are preparing themselves for the legislative. I don't want to beat them. Now, they have a very difficult electorate. You have to understand that. If you go into an electorate where people have come from a crisis, where the only message is not necessary, is just rejection, you have a very difficult job to be able to remove them from the mindset of complete rejection to understanding your political ideology of a social agenda. Because all they see is chaos. Now, doing that job, the SDF has been able to do that on the ground. No other political party has been able to do that. It's a rebirth. So for me, when a political candidate, I don't want to say a political party, because if it was the political party, you would have seen necessarily the political party together. What we have seen in this election is a political candidate who took his political party, aligned with another political party, which was not participating in the elections, sabotaged the other political parties which were participating in the elections, and therefore put their candidate forward. It allowed for the opposition parties who had been working on a consensus or on a coalition to not be able to advocate for their agenda. It led to one political party who is represented mostly throughout the national territory to have an advantage.
Ms. Anchang, that is not where my worry is.
I understand you.
My worry is at the level of elections have been carried out. Votes have been counted.
Yes.
People have their return sheets from the field.
The procedure report.
Some have said, I have won. Some have said,
it is wrong.
I did not win.
It is completely wrong. It is very wrong, not only to the population, but equally to the participants and the stakeholders, the other political parties of the process. Had it been that each political party candidate, irrespective of their score, declared themselves the winner, and you had their militants, their radical militants and sympathizers equally go as hard as they went to as this political candidate, would we have an electoral process? We wouldn't. So you have to have the maturity.
Okay.
You have to have the patience and the tolerance. Because it's one candidate, but there were how many candidates in it? Initially, 12. 2 decided to go for another political party. You decided to choose one party. Imagine if we had all the 10 active.
Even the 2 that went maybe to join other political parties, they still had their ballots.
They still had their.
So there were 12 candidates in the election.
So imagine if you had 12 auto-proclaiming themselves. We won't have a vitality.
Are they not proclaiming in relation to the picture they see on the field? Okay, yeah, Doc. Yes, we are looking at this because this is the main thing that is causing the tension around. People saying that I won the elections, people saying I did not win. Your candidate says he did not win. It is very clear. So, but he's not haunted. Yes, is it that he was within the law and then the person that said he won was out of the law?
You know, just as Mr. Anchang said, the law, it gives the possibility for candidates or political parties that participated in the election to make trends, to make predictions. What it forbids is declaring themselves winner, as he has rightly said. That is what the law forbids. But it does not forbid candidates or political parties for making trends. And we were making those trends. I was one of those seated there, and from the we were making trends. Now, and that is why our national chairman made the statement that he made. And I want to tell you that the SDF, just as Mr. Anchang said, has a very difficult electorate. But at the same time, the topic of this debate is presidential election, combating electoral conflicts, violence. I am begging the Constitutional Council to read the right results. In fact, we should be praying that the Holy Spirit should touch all the members of the Constitutional Council so that they can declare the correct result of Cameroonians. In 1992, Nijon Fundi won the lie. They went and declared fake results. And all Cameroonians could see it. These are the things that cause violence. We want to prevent conflicts and violence, then the role of law and justice must play its role. It must be projected because Cameroonians are very angry. I'm not a proponent of forcing people to go to the streets. No. But people are so bitter. If we want to start taking the economic statistics, you will see that Cameroonians are suffering in the midst of plenty, and in most countries they talk of the wealthiest 1%. In Cameroon, it is the wealthiest 0.02% that control the wealth of this country. And unjustly, and that is why I'm saying that for Cameroon to be held the way it has been held for a very long time, let the Constitutional Council members declare the right results. Please, let's be very realistic.
If they have the right results.
Let's be very realistic.
Because that's another debate.
Bia is the head of the Higher Judicial Council. Bia is the head of the Higher Judicial Council. Bia is the head of everything in Cameroon. He is the head of everything in Cameroon and has control of everything. In 2008, when the president of the Constitutional Council declared him president, he signed a decree urging the construction of a house worth more than 400 million. I'm sure you are aware of that. Can you imagine in a democracy, we see members of the CPDM, even he himself, he was found spotted in an in a CPDM meeting in the Nyong and So division. That is the president of the Constitutional Council that is supposed to remain neutral, for Christ's sake. Okay, Cameroon has suffered a lot, and we need justice. We need truth. Otherwise, we will not be able to contain the situation again.
Okay, thank you so much. Barrister, you are a lawyer. Section 137 of the Electoral Code is very clear that only the Constitutional Council has the legal right to declare or proclaim the results. Now, your candidate has declared that he won the elections. Is that not to kind of sow some seed of violence?
I want to remain constant with President Chiroma Bakari. You have train coming from polling station, and we remain on that. He has just said why that the Holy Ghost was touch President of Constitutional Court. I want to tell them that they evaluate somebody in his ability to build and not to destroy. Because today, they seem to be blaming all those young Cameroonians whose future have been destroyed by 43 years. They came to power when I was only 1 year and a half. Today I'm 44 years old.
Okay.
They went and bought my house. I don't think that it is President Chiroma Bakari who built my house. We have singular history, but common future.
But are you also aware that they burned the CPDM in Cham?
We have singular history, but common future. And today, as I was saying earlier, we are going to be judged on what we have done today. Okay. We have a legacy to give to the future generation. And I beseech all my countrymen to stay calm. To stay calm and to wait. Because this time, we are not in 1992. We are in 2025. And we have young generation which are called born free. We are not connected to all of your network from international and internal one. We are born free. And as I'm saying, we are free mindedly, politically, on so many issues. Because if you decide to rule a country by having double standard, you open way to angriness.
When you say double standard, can you explain in this context?
When I talk about double standard, I hear him saying that, oh, he declared that he was wrong. You have your journalists. You are fake journalists because they are not even journalists. They are what they call journalers. They are journalers. They spend their time on social network, like finance, terrorism somewhere. Be sure that justice still functions in Cameroon. They are still loyal magistrates. They are still loyal magistrates. And all sectors, I'm very happy to have Professor here. He is one of the most brilliant teachers.
Sure.
And in 20, he was the one who decided to sign our document because the embassy refused to receive documents signed by administrative authorities. I'm very happy to meet him today. I didn't know that one day I will see with the higher. He has not been mixed in all those thing. It's not good. Today, our country is wounded. Our country is wounded. It's with a lot of courage that I've decided to assist in this program because those who are listening to us from the curtain of their palace, they must understand that we, young generation, we have been able to support you for so many years. We do not want you again. Marriage is not force. You cannot force a lady to stay in your house. If the lady says she does not want you again, please pack your luggage, leave. Because you know, if you see a grandfather discussing milk with baby, you must control him. Because he might finally shock the emaciated children.
Okay, thank you so much, Barrister. Prof, when we look at the atmosphere, there is this tendency of verbal words that come out from all angles that is kind of sowing a seed to the tensions that we have. It is true, Article 113 says trends should be published. Article 137 says only the Constitutional Council should publish official results. But then, after the self-proclamation, we've seen people threaten people of arrest, threaten even those that are not kind of very active in the political scene, come out to threaten people. Is it not what is sowing this seed of a conflict?
Well, you just said it all. Permit me say I've also been threatened because I came out with an article to say that Cameroonians should be cautious. There's going to be rigging, but that is not the end of the world. Political parties can re-strategize on how to gain power rather than going to the streets. Let me say that my brother, well, I want to thank him. When you do a good job, you don't know how it is.
It never goes unnoticed.
So I'm surprised I'm seated beside him today, and thank you for your very kind words.
You're welcome.
Let me say that I have a conviction that I cannot be shaken from that conviction. Was there fraud in the elections? Yes. From whom? To the best of my appreciation, from both sides of the divide. From the ruling party, from the opposition party. Are there threats and hate language? Yes. From whom? From both sides of the divide. So those who are in power are actually warning and intimidating. Those who are struggling to get to power are actually warning and threatening. And all of these have their media. That is why we talk about civil society. I have a strong respect for civil society. But who is the civil society? Because every Tom, Dick, and Harry of political idea have their own civil society. So there are civil society members which are for the fraud. There are civil society which are against the fraud. So we are in a very confused setup. And that is why I make an appeal. Not only an appeal to the Constitutional Council, as my friend and my dog would say. I am making an appeal to all the stakeholders. First, to the President of the Republic. He should be able to caution the Constitutional Council to declare the right results. I don't know the right results. And nobody forces me to believe in one side of the divide.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So it is only the Constitutional Council. Permit me say that one verse cannot explain the Bible. So I cannot take trends overnight and say I'm the victor. It's wrong.
Wrong.
And I cannot take trends overnight to say the other one is the vanquished. I mean, I'm talking from both sides of the divide. So we must be patient and wait for the result. In this patience, the political parties, I started with the President of the Republic. The Constitutional Council should be, to their conscience, declare to the best of their ability the reflection of the results on the field. And what about ELECAM? The same. What about political parties? We should mind what we say.
Yes.
We should mean what we actually say. Are we saying that the Cameroonian people should delve into another outright war situation because we are either, put it in both ways. If any results are declared, there's going to be some petty tension. I can foresee that. I declared that already. Even if it's Issa Chiruma who is declared president, there's going to be tension. Even if it is Biya who is made, there's going to be tension. What should the different political parties be doing now as leaders? They should be able to caution so that we don't get into excesses. Because it is very easy to begin an uprising, but very difficult to hold back. It is very clear. Let's declare crisis in the Northwest and Southwest region is a reference. We thought that it would last for a few days. We are 9 years into it. So let us not be able to, the way we communicate, inject instant tension. Right, there is fraud. But what about that? the military too should be cautioned. The military should not just get up. Well, to the best of my appreciation, I think that people have the right to protest when they are dissatisfied.
That was
but
what
in this protest,
I was about to ask you, what do you make of the Douala, Chang, Garoua, Kuseri agitations already?
I disagree with any mass movement which is intended to destroy. Every organization has the right to manifest dissatisfaction. But that dissatisfaction which is intended to burn, to loot, is what I stand against. And how do you expect? No one side monopolizes violence. The military will not cross their hands and see the buildings being burnt down. To the greatest of my regrets is that the rector's residence was ramshacked. By who? Is that the same political gains we are fighting for? No, these are excesses, and we should expect intervention. So what I'm saying is that even if the military has to intervene, they should use their basic common sense. The population, they are there because of the population. They should not be there to fight against those population. The population on their part should not be instrumentalized by whosoever.
Okay.
Because when we get to the streets, it is only the downtrodden who are going to suffer.
Okay. Thank you. Doc, could this not be avoided, given that when we witnessed the vote counting, we also heard these young people, after the final vote counting in each polling unit, say, we don't want this result to be tampered with. But people, could this not be avoided to get to where we are right now?
It can easily be avoided, just as Prof said. I don't want to, in fact, I don't want to quote people here on the platform. But I am telling you, Mr. Chia, if you are in a field like some of us are, it will be very difficult for you to hold back yourself, given what some of the CPDM officials are saying. I am telling you, the young people are being provoked. Young people are being provoked. Cameroonians are being provoked because we caught people red-handed stuffing ballot boxes. In that case, what should the population do? Why should you go and stuff ballot boxes when you know the rule? Why? Why should you stuff ballot boxes when you know the rule? Things should be allowed to unfold the way they are supposed to unfold. That would prevent this violence. It is going to prevent unnecessary conflicts. Because if anything is done contrary to the law or contrary to its natural course, I am telling you, it will bring violence. Let me take this example. If X won and Y is proclaimed victor, what do you expect? What do you expect? And that is why I am saying that we should, now that we have acted, because faith goes alongside action, now that we have acted, we should pray and pray that the powers that be, the heavenly powers, should intervene and ensure that everything goes right and violence is avoided.
Okay.
Because I keep bringing back this example. Cameroonians are very resilient. Everybody knows that Nijon Fundi won in 1992. The wrong result was declared. We have been peaceful from then till now. There was no war. Even the late chairman himself, he said it, that I am not going to walk on corpses to A to D because of power. I'd rather give up the power. That is the current situation in which we are now. And that is why I am saying that what should be done in the right way, and it should unfold in the way it is supposed to unfold for peace to reign. Okay. Because you've heard a minister say it clearly that they have to do everything possible to maintain Paul Biya in power, because if he falls, they too will fall. Can you imagine a minister saying that?
Yes.
Meaning that they don't care about the interests of the people. What they care about is their office and their advantages.
Okay.
This is wickedness.
Let's take some few messages. Good afternoon, Mr. Chia, and thanks for this topic. The 12th October 2025 elections were marred with a lot of rigging. The case of the Northwest region was so glaring. We have places such as Oku and Olbui division, Batibo, Boyo division, so glaring. It is a shame that Cameroonians should engage in such blatant daylight fraudulent actions. We also have this from good afternoon, sir. I think the statement has just been made that the total number of people in the subdivision is least number of voters. I think I couldn't get that very clearly. Hello and good afternoon, sir. Some of the radicals, ministers, like, please, I wouldn't want to call names. I wouldn't want to call somebody radical on this set. Yes, we'll listen to the outing of Professor Maurice Kamto yesterday, who said, those, I want to quote him, the people trying to change results of the ballots are those nursing all the disorder, not those who are manifesting.
Ooh.
As a political analyst, how do you read that statement?
Well, you have to understand here, there are political actors in the scene who are on extreme political lines. Mr. Greenberg from the SDF has just been attacking the CPDM, personal attacks. He hasn't talked about the ideology of the political party of the SDF. The other opponent, the other person on the other side, same political personal attacks. The personal attacks do not change the electoral process and the electoral code. That's something we should have to be very careful to be able to let people know back at home. I think sometimes political parties sometimes get with the enthusiasm. It's very difficult also to be able to calm down their enthusiasm post-election, after the election itself. But it's very important to be able to have that tolerance and the patience to be able to focus on what the electoral process is and where it stands. Now, as to the polls, as to what some might call fraud, I actually look at it as maybe manipulation also in the political scene. The report proceedings in a polling station is what, by an electoral process, gives you the feedback as to what happened in a polling station. That is what the law says.
Okay.
So
Thank
now,
you.
once you subjectively take it upon yourself to interpret it with your own version, it would be a political interpretation.
Okay.
Now, leave from that political interpretation to an apolitical interpretation from someone who is apolitical, who wants to understand me as a political person who registered to vote. What will be the result and what will be the Constitutional Council say?
Okay, thank you.
It is not an attack on the persons that constitute the Constitutional Council or constitute part of the electoral process. I'll equally have the same right.
Please try to learn. We don't have time. Unfortunately, we have a technical fault.
It's not theory, Mr. Ancha.
Okay.
We are telling you
Please.
what happened. It happened the way it happened.
Please.
That's what we are
Gerald,
saying.
I never cut you. Gerald, I
We
never...
are telling you what happened.
Please, Doc, please let him learn, please. We don't have time.
That's why I say you have to be patient. And I'll give him the contradictory. Same too in 1990, there were people from the CPDM whose houses got burned. There were people from the CPDM in the Anglophone crisis whose houses got burnt. No one is condoning violence. But there's one particular aspect in political science that we are all avoiding here. You cannot incite with political rhetoric and communication to incite violence.
Okay.
The political parties have to simmer down, have to be able to let the electoral process go to completion.
Okay.
When you don't allow the electoral process to go to completion and you revindicate your personal agendas and they are subjective, you incite violence. That's what we're talking about.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ancha.